Well, hello, everybody. Jai Bhagwan,
Hi, everyone.
namaste. This is Satyavani Gayatri, and I am with my fabulous colleague, Pragya Jamie Marich here. We are in our new season of Tea and Take, and so we are happy that you are here to join us. Today's topic is about pilgrimage or holy expedition, if you would. Both Pragya and I have had recent pilgrimages to India, doing actually similar but yet different things. And so I thought I would start today by first asking my acharya and loving lineage sister here to set the stage for what your pilgrimage was like, and was this your first time in India? I believe it was, right? Am I
It
correct?
was, yeah. Hmm.
Okay. And you know, a lot of times people go on a holy expedition because there is seeking that is happening. And so I'm curious as to what your intentions were with your pilgrimage, and tell us a little bit about it.
I really dig the phrase holy expedition as a
Right?
explanation for pilgrimage, because pilgrimage is something I've written about, something I've studied. I've gone on many in multi-faith contexts. And this is, as you mentioned, my first pilgrimage that I took to India. And even the whole nature of it coming about is a lesson in pilgrimage. And one of those lessons for me has always been what you expect is often not what happens. And that's
It's never going to happen.
right. So I've been craving a voyage to India for quite some time because of my deepened path in yoga study. And originally, Amrit Yoga Institute had planned their Yoga Nidra training there for a certain set of dates. And I was all excited because I needed to take the Yoga Nidra training. I moved some things around in my calendar to make it happen because, you know, my schedule's very, very weird. And then I learned at some point last summer, about a minute after I booked my flight,
Oh, no.
that AYI had to move the dates because of a conflict they had with some bookings in their other programs. And I mean, in my opinion, they moved the dates with ample notice, but with my schedule being what it is,
Which is very tight.
yeah, I just could not make a move again in order to accommodate the dates. And I mean, at first my reaction was, ugh, damn it. And then it said, well, just go to India. I mean, that's kind of what the inner voice said. Maybe it actually will work out better this way, that you're not in a training in your first experience in India, and you can actually see the things. You can do some of the tourist things. You can visit a lot of the holy sites you wanted to visit. And my friend Erin had initially been kind of eyeing the training as well. And she and I had a conversation and felt kind of similarly that maybe this worked out for a reason. I mean, I know that sounds kind of cliched.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and indeed, it was lovely. I did get to go to Malav and visit Bapuji's temple, Mahasamadhi. So that's where I began the journey. And then eventually I went back to
the journey there.
I began the journey there, yeah.
Can you just tell me a little bit, as well as our listeners, can you set the stage of what that was like? I mean, you know, our lineage, being that of the Kripalu lineage, and being at our guru's Mahasamadhi, you know, final resting space, had to be pretty powerful. I have yet to go, and I know that we were WhatsApping back and forth when you had arrived there, and you sent me a picture of what the outside of the beautiful resting place looked like. But what was the feeling? What was the vibe?
Obviously something I needed to share with you and my Baba Chintan and people who I know love Bapuji. Because it was, I mean, when I arrived, there was a bit of this sense of, oh, I'm in India. Like that was part of my experience. But I just remember that night, I almost felt like I wanted to sleep outside, right? Oh. Like kind of curled up against the temple. And it was lovely. It was just so lovely in a lot of ways. I mean, I felt I got to do some very deep meditation and sadhana and writing with the very short time I got to spend there. That was just steeped in Bapuji's presence. Yet I had such beautiful interactions with the people of Malav, and just to greet each other with Jai Bhagwan was something I couldn't even describe. That it was just as commonplace as saying hello to people. Indescribable.
And the direct community that's there, are, for all intents and purposes, Kripalu lineage, lovers,
Devotees.
seekers, and devotees, and all of that.
Yeah, because this was the family and the community that the Patel family on whose property this all kind of went down, was who Bapuji wanted to, give this over to his legacy in that form. And yeah, I just had an amazingly wonderful experience. I wish I could have stayed there longer. And at some point I would like to be able to go and just engage in my own sadhana, my own practice there, whether or not it's involved with the training or not. It's still special. I have the picture of the mandir as my lock screen on my phone still, just as a reminder of an overwhelming sense of peace and presence that I tapped into there.
I love that you bring that, the idea of peace and presence, because, oftentimes with pilgrimage, there is this seeking is cleansing, if you would.
Right.
So we go with intentions, and maybe those intentions, like you said, play themselves out or they don't. I mean, India is a very interesting place where everything, like you said, that you expect, may or may not happen. In a lot of ways, it usually does, and it usually winds up being something very different.
Right.
But along with pilgrimage is this cleansing effect, and there's also this reevaluation and recommitment, if you would, to our spiritual path, to kind of letting go of the mundane, material world kinds of things that we get very distracted by. And in Hinduism, there's this concept of vratas, or commitments, where we make these commitments to something that is higher than ourselves. And those vratas become a dedication, and dedication drives us closer to concentration. And in many ways, that sort of Patanjali's 8-limb path starts to evolve in a very tangible way when we are on pilgrimage. And so I'm curious what your experience was like. Am I off record, or am I kind of out there with that, or did you feel that?
Something that we often teach, especially in the Christian context around pilgrimage, is it's supposed to be hard. That's part of why, even though you can take a pilgrimage within, or you never have to really leave your house to take a pilgrimage of the soul, that what travel adds to it is the challenges of travel, as you know, can come with a lot of expectations being crushed. And that's exactly what happened, because my pilgrimage began with a 19-hour delay in Chicago. Because of the conflict with India.
Not even in the country.
Yeah. And as soon as that happened, it was this sense of course, this is pilgrimage, and it's cutting into my time in Malav. And yet I did get to spend some lovely extra time with friends in Chicago. And it was a chance to kind of embrace this part of the sadhana, which is, all right, you have no control over this.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting, because I'll from an Ayurvedic perspective, if I will, we get very, when we're getting ready for pilgrimage, there's all this energy that's there. There's, the desire, and, pitta starts moving, we get heated up, and then, our vata is like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. And we get all this stuff in our head. And then the essence of the pilgrimage kind of slaps you and is like,
yes. Yes.
Like, you're going to be here now, wherever here and now is. And for you, it was Chicago.
Yeah.
And you are going to enjoy every moment of that, versus I'm living in the future. I want to get there. I want to get to the next space. I want to get to Malav. I want to see the Mahasamadhi, etc. But rather, the energies and the spirits that be, and God kind of guide us in that space of just like, no, like, you do need to spend some time with friends in Chicago right now, and it's going to be okay. No problem.
For sure. So some other interesting challenges presented themselves on the pilgrimage, which you actually helped me through, that I want to give a shout out, because as we'll hear about Satyavani's journey here in a moment. Yeah, we were there at the same time, which was neat. Even though I was in the north, she was in the south, and through the modern marvels of technology, we were able to stay in touch. So after Malav, I did kind of the tourist thing. I got to go to the Taj Mahal, which was out of this world, and some places in Delhi. And then I went to, which is essentially the home country of my other spiritual lineage, to which I'm closely tied, that of Neem Karoli Baba Maharaji, who many of you would know as the guru of Ram Dass and Krishna Das, and that whole crew from the late 60s, early 70s. And so his primary temple is in a place called Kainchi, which is in the Himalayas near Nainital. And so I had so many, I could probably fill a whole episode. So I'll just summarize it to say that everything that Neem Karoli Baba has done for me in that astral plane he's in now was so made manifest in the site. You know, I have a great devotion to Hanuman, and he's believed to be an incarnation of Hanuman. And just, I was telling Aaron the whole time, I feel like I'm in Hanuman country up here.
That's so lovely.
Yet where you ended up helping me out was like the great virgin traveler to India. I contracted my first case of mild dysentery through some sketch food I came into contact with. And yeah, I was able to reach out to my Ayurvedic clinician to say,
help me, please. No, I loved it. It's funny. I got a text while I was away, because as you know, I was in Kerala doing my advanced disease pathology training.
Appropriately.
Yes, and the timing couldn't have been any better, because we had just talked about, and again, here's the irony of pilgrimage. Everything syncs up the way that it is. We had just studied that day IBS.
Oh wow. So on that token, tell us, our listeners, about this drink you gave me to have them make me buttermilk with some.
Buttermilk.
Yeah.
Yep. So the buttermilk, there were two components to the treatment of the IBS, or the dysentery, which was to have the buttermilk, and you can't get better buttermilk than you can in India, which, you couldn't have been at a better place. So you had that, and then there was also just the rice porridge to help soothe the stomach.
It was amazing.
Yep. And then green gram to help with the digestive tract, which is really sprouted mung beans that are sauteed in some, Ayurvedic spices. But it seemed to have worked its way well, because you were fine within 2 days, right?
I had 2 bad days, yeah. Which also challenged me to take it easy, to rest. And I mean, we were in the best possible place on the journey for that to happen.
Yep.
Yet I wrote a poem in response. Sometimes the pilgrimage gives you dysentery, to make, at least me, my experience with, come to terms with my human limitations. Yep. And that I need to care for myself in that moment. But with the drink, I remember in the first 2 sips of it I told Aaron, my traveling mate, this is nasty, but I feel it working on my stomach. I didn't care for the taste of it.
Of course not.
I immediately felt it just kind of work this love in the stomach. That was amazing. So I'm
glad.
Yeah, it was just absolutely wonderful. So since we're kind of on this topic, why don't you tell our friends who are listening to our chat what you were up to? Because how many trips have you made?
This is my 6th. This is my 6th trip to India. And much like you felt very at home in Hanuman country, if you would, in Kerala, from an Ayurvedic perspective, I felt very much at home. And then my other secondary home is in Rishikesh, because that's Lord Shiva territory, and as you know, that's part of our lineage line. And it was, what was amazing as far as the holy expedition was concerned is really to be in the belly of the roots of Ayurveda. And Ayurveda comes from Kerala, and it's a very unique space. There are herbs and all sorts of botany that exists in Kerala that actually some don't even exist in other parts of India. So, you know, for me to be able to study sacred medicine as part of my pilgrimage, because I've done many of the yogic and spiritual pilgrimages, and this cleansing was being able to get into the sacred medicine piece of it. And, you know, and I know that we've talked about and probably will talk about just the idea of the human experience and, you know, the human self and the divine self. And what I really appreciate about Ayurveda is that it's really a balance of both. Like, I can touch both my human self from a biological standpoint, as well as my divine self, because of the divinity that Ayurveda represents. And so for me, like, I was like a kid at Christmas time, you know, if I'm going to use my old Catholic background, where the two really just came together in a space where I could just study like the pathology of disease, or dis-ease, if you would, but also understanding that the treatments of it and being in that experience has a sacredness that is just unmatched in the West, you know. And, you know, we're very used to hearing a lot about clinical allopathic ways of being, and you know, and in different parts of the country there's different alternatives that are being introduced, but to be in a place where allopathic medicine is not really discussed, and that, you know, the way of medicine is in this Ayurvedic tradition was just amazing. Much like, I would imagine, although I haven't experienced directly, much like the shamanic traditions are, you know, in Central and South America. And just to be embodied, embraced by that. I mean, to wake up in the morning and to do a morning sadhana with an instructor who was just fabulous, and to be in that vibration, mind, body, and soul, was just incredible. So thank you for asking.
Sure. And how is this training different from other ones? Because you've been to Kerala other times for training, yes?
Yeah, I've been to Kerala one other time. And this training was really understanding the pathogenesis, the development and the pathogenesis and the treatment of disease. And we studied 60 different disease pathologies in 30 days. And I had final exams on every single one of them. And we did clinical rounds at an Ayurvedic hospital, which was amazing. And just to be able to be in that language and to talk about things like that, versus like, you know, here in the States, you get a lot of people like, oh, well, I have a headache, go take Tylenol. You know, it's like, no, actually, you know, and to be able to use that languaging. But it was both academic and spiritual together, which are like really my two loves, which was amazing.
How did it impact your personal sadhana?
How it impacted my personal sadhana, you know, much like you, which I appreciate when you said that sometimes pilgrimage gives you dysentery. In addition to studying, I was also able to go through Ayurvedic treatments in the form of Abhyanga and Shirodhara and different kinds of herbal regimens. And to really know that my life in the West can really get out of control and really push me into dis-ease. And so from a spiritual perspective, from a sadhanic standpoint, I really understood intimately the power and the need for constant healing and rejuvenation. And that's a lot of what, I mean, there were days in sadhana and even after class where I would literally be brought to tears because the energetic of all of it was just so powerful. And it was like, you need to pay attention to this, you know, and I'm going to turn 45 in, let's see, today is the 3rd in 8 days. Cool. So a week from tomorrow. And that was very, not the age issue, but the fact like, wow, like this could be my half life. If I live to 90, you know, I'm open to live to 100, but we'll see. But this could be my half life. And how do I want to do the next half versus, you know, the first half? So it was great.
Love it. That's Lovely. That's
Yes.
just lovely. Whew. And I like how you framed it that way.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
I'm excited to go back.
Me too. And I think everybody should go to India.
Especially
And it
if yoga's touched your life in any way, for sure.
absolutely. And I think that it's if you want to be a true yogi and not like an Instagram yogi or a Facebook yogi,
Mhm.
um, which I guess technically aren't really yogis, having an experience, a pilgrimage in India is a necessary component. I mean, I would imagine you would agree with that. So.
I would most definitely agree with that. And I also I want to punctuate the story with how my pilgrimage ended, which was
Yes.
getting to spend time with our dear friend Malika's family in Delhi for the Festival of Holi, which fell during the last couple days that we spent. So we got to bombard each other with colors and
So beautiful.
with an Indian family to celebrate that. And we should have Malika on a tea and take episode now that I think
Oh,
about it.
absolutely. Well, when we're at the ashram in August,
Yeah.
we're definitely doing that for
Well,
sure.
we'll make it happen. And it was so lovely to be able to end there was because I mean, there were just so many different experiences that happened along the way. I mean, between dealing with some not nice people along the way, but knowing that nice people were there to help us through it was an interesting bit. I
Absolutely.
won't get into the whole story, but I had to kind of use some ingenuity to jimmy a litter box for myself out of some old dinner refuse that our hotel had given us because there was no bathroom on our overnight bus and nature absolutely called.
Oh, present moment.
Yes,
Present moment.
yes. And Malika even joked, when are you writing the piece that sometimes the pilgrimage makes you
Yes.
do a
Have to need a
litter
litter
box
box.
on the overnight bus? Because it does engender this sense of creative thinking and living with the unexpected, which goes back to a point I made earlier. This is why if travel is a possibility, even if it's car travel, like even last night, we came back from Muktidam, which
Right.
is where our beloved Bapuji was in residence here in the U.S.
And a
And
pilgrimage in and of itself.
yes, and it was a 5.5 hour drive type of pilgrimage, and I took it with my baba and one of my friends, and we even had challenges on that trip with road construction last night, and it really we all had this moment as we just wanted to get home and get into bed, where it's like that's not in the plan right now. We can't do anything about it.
Nope.
So let's sing and hang out and enjoy each other's company and be present.
And that's what it is about being present. And with Ayurveda, with spirituality, with pilgrimage, it really is, at the end of the day, it comes back to living in the present moment because we will never have another one just like this.
Yep.
And if we're living so much in the future, we are not only missing so many things, but we're also depleting so many things. So I'm glad we were able to talk about this.
Great place to wrap this one up. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Tea and Take, and please continue to check in for future episodes as we continue these very fun and hopefully enlightening conversations on marrying our East-West practices.
Absolutely. Jai Bhagwan.
Have a good one.